Welcome back, Chromian. In this video, we will add a new entity called Book Review that's related to the existing book entity. We will also implement an operation to create and store reviews, and of course a query so we can see what people think about each book. Let's get started. Here we can see how the existing book entity relates to Book Review, which we're about to implement. Each review is linked to exactly one book, but each book can have many reviews. It's a one-to-many relationship. Let's define the book review entity in the code. We'll of course put this in entities Rell just below the existing book entity. And it's not essential, but I like fixing the indentation to get rid of these squiggly lines. Now, because book review includes a reference to book, when you're looking up reviews, you can also access data about the book, like the title or the author. Rell handles all the magic behind the scenes, only looking up references you actually need and not wasting resources. In most cases, you won't notice anything. It just works, fast and flawless. But it's good to be aware of how this works as you build more complex models. Calling something like toStruct to pull all the data into one big structure might affect performance if you're working with huge datasets with lots of references. That's why we use the index keyword on the book reference to optimize queries that reference this relationship. Now let's continue with the operation that actually creates reviews. If you followed the course so far, diving into the code along the way, then this should all look relatively familiar. I want to point out that we're using the plain @ operator when we're searching for the book through its ISBN. That means we expect exactly one match, no more, no less. Otherwise it fails, which is precisely what we want here, since every review should be tied to one specific book. But let's go ahead and insert the operation in the operations Rell file. And again, I'm adjusting the indentation. Let's take a quick look at what's actually happening. These two diagrams show the same process from slightly different angles. The second one we've already seen in the previous lesson, but they both show the same core steps. The user starts by signing a transaction. It's sent to the Chromia node where it's validated. Then the node executes the operation. Here it looks up the book by its ISBN, links it to the review, and updates the state. The transaction is also recorded on the blockchain, and the user finally receives a confirmation. Let's add a test to make sure everything works as expected. First, we'll update the import in the book review test file. And then we'll add the test itself. And once you've familiarized yourself with what the test actually does, go ahead and run it. If everything's working, you should also get this summary that everything's passed. Let's again spin up our local node or update if it's already running so we can try creating a transaction. Node is initialized, so we start a new terminal. And copy the command for the operation. Once you see this confirmation, the transaction was verified by the node, stored on the blockchain, and the state was updated. Your review in this case, just like we saw in the diagrams above. Let's continue with writing a query. Copy the code and add it to the queries Rell file. And as usual, I'm doing the indentation. One thing to notice is that we're using the @ operator with the star, which means we're fetching a list of reviews which can be empty if there are no reviews for this book. Alright, let's do a quick update of our local node so we can see that the query actually works. It can take a moment for the update to be applied. I think it needs the next block to be generated before it becomes available, but let's go ahead and try. And indeed it looks like we were too fast. We'll just wait a few seconds and try again. And yes, this time we got the result we were looking for. That's the end of the lesson. I hope you've been pausing and digging into the code along the way to really get an understanding of how everything works. If not, now's a great opportunity to go back and explore it at your own pace. But great job so far. In the next lesson, we'll be looking at verifying and validating inputs. Looking forward to seeing you there.